My wife remorselessly cheated on me and also got pregnant from her AP. Not sure if this is the right sub. But I can't think of anywhere else to post this. For those who remember me, I'm the guy whose wife made our kids release a wild bunny in the middle of the yard after I advised her to have the kids take it to the bushes to release it safely. A hawk took the bunny right in front of both of our children. And they freaked out on their mother, then came running back to me in tears. Our kids started calling their mother the bunny K*lure. That name seems apt now, and other people called her that as well after her affair got out. What happened with that poor bunny is ancient history compared to what I have to tell now. I'm speaking as a free man after finishing divorce a couple of months ago. This is going to be pretty long and complicated. So buckle up. I did show my wife my original Reddit post. And she was very angry with me. So much so it caused a bad fight. And after it, I got the silent treatment for another week. I tried to make my kids stop mistreating their mother after the bunny incident. Even with being punished by small groundings and timeouts. But the BK nickname kept coming back every time our kids got angry with their mother. My wife let up on her cold shoulder routine after a couple of weeks and conceded she should have listened to me about the bunny, and should have taken it to the bushes like I said. She claimed that she just felt like she needed to defend herself because she didn't want to be wrong. I accepted that apology and apologized myself for making the Reddit post. I wanted us to go to marriage counseling, but she refused. She acted like there was nothing wrong with our marriage. And I decided not to push the issue further since things were seemingly getting along better. But after a few weeks my eldest came to me saying she wanted to tell me something. There was another reason why she was so mad at her mother than just the bunny. But she was scared to tell me. I comforted her and told her she could tell me anything. Well, what she said shocked me, and changed everything in an instant. She said that for months Mama had been bringing a man over some Saturdays I was at work, and had referred to him as her special friend. She got our kids to keep quiet about it by various means of bribery. But my eldest realized that something was very wrong with it. And spent some time working up the courage to tell me. Kids know things, and pick up on stuff very quickly. I really dislike it when people dismiss those facts. I had noticed my wife acting a bit differently lately. She had been more short with everyone. Especially the kids. I tried talking to her about it when I showed her my first post. And she just went off on me about any little thing she could think of. Insulted my appearance, my character, my habits, even my side of the family. She even brought up that I used to smoke. I quit over 10 years ago. Then she resorted to locking me out of our bedroom and crying so loud you could hear it all over the house. So when my eldest came to me, I ended up putting 2 and 2 together. She was cheating, and her behavior was very similar to the mood swings she had while pregnant with both of our children. Similar I say, because it was even worse. From what I've gathered searching online and what friends and even a counselor have told me, my wife was both very moody from hormones and projecting because of her infidelity. I can't claim to be an expert in psychology, but it does seem to make sense. I wanted it to all be a misunderstanding. But I quickly ordered and set up a few hidden cameras without anyone knowing. I had them delivered to my work just so no one at home would see them. Then I set them up on a day my wife went out to have a girls' night with her friends. It was very easy to hook them up and connect them to the Wi-Fi. In just a few short hours I could monitor every part of the house from my home PC, laptop, and work PC. At first I worried I might have been going overboard. I thought if it turned out I was wrong, then I could remove the cameras and no one would ever know. But no. My worst fears were confirmed as I got plenty of evidence in just the first week. The man my wife has taken as an AP is a former colleague of hers. I remembered him quite well as they seemed close with my wife whenever I met him at various functions. My wife quit her job years ago to be a full-time mom after getting pregnant with our first. It was a mutual decision for us both at the time. My wife stayed connected with her former coworkers as they were her best friends. But not anymore. What I'm about to tell you has pretty much made her hated by everyone. Firstly, the AP is younger than my wife by about a decade. She mentored him at her former job to fill her position when she left. And the two of them stayed close. Very close. My wife and I are both over 40, but you wouldn't know it from looking at her. She's positively stunning. She got mistaken for someone in their 20s quite a lot. And I guess she capitalized on that. I ended up confiding to my sister about what was going on, and showed her the footage from the nanny cams. She told me she'd suspected for a while. And said she'd seen my wife once at a local bar getting a bit too close with a man that wasn't me. But they never kissed or anything while she was watching. Just lots of touching on the shoulders and lower back. And since she wasn't sure, she didn't tell me sooner. I ended up ordering a GPS tracker as well. And after I got it working, I hid it in the trunk of my wife's car. My sister and her husband agreed to help me, and followed the tracker on my wife's next supposed night out with friends. She went to a completely different place 20 miles further away than where she usually goes. And from there she met up with AP. My sister and Bill observed them for some time from their car. And noticed AP kept rubbing her belly while they were talking. And they recorded video of this too. When I saw the footage I knew she had to be pregnant with his baby since she was so moody at home. My sister and Bill had to calm me down because I turned into a complete mess. I wanted to self-medicate with alcohol, but my sister very correctly told me that drinking the worst thing I could do at the moment. Later I decided to take a leave from work, but told my wife I was actually going to be on a business trip. She couldn't have been more excited about it, and didn't try very hard to hide her glee that I'd be leaving for a while. Who is this woman? She's certainly not the one I married almost 20 years ago, right? Did someone who looks exactly like her just take her place one day? Is she an alien from the pod people? Did I ever really know her? The more I thought about it, the less it made sense to me. So my end conclusion was that trying to make sense of anything wouldn't do me any good. I had cameras all over the house. And my sister and Bill agreed to take my kids for a few days because they love visiting auntie and uncle in the city. This gave my wife the exact opening she wanted. She called AP only a few hours after I left, and he showed up that evening to spend the night. I won't go into any detail about what they did around the house. You can fill in those details yourselves. But on top of all that, they were joking about me continuously. They openly talked about their baby, and how they needed to figure out what to do before her belly starts to show, as she was already over 3 months along by then. And there was no way it could be passed off as mine. AP is a different race from me. So it'd be pretty easy to tell the baby wouldn't be mine from birth. My wife brushed AP's concerns aside and said that they had months to figure it out. Then she shamelessly admitted this wasn't even her first affair, as she'd slept with another man when she was 29. She told AP she was sick of having to act like the good housewife, and was tired of being around a boring man like myself that made her feel old. And if it wasn't for me being so financially stable, she'd have left me long ago. Even her AP asked her about what her plan is with our kids. Her exact words were, "He can have them." She didn't even want to be around our kids anymore because she thought they liked me better. And she'd soon be having her do-over baby, anyway. I very nearly threw the laptop on the floor in my motel room because I was so disgusted. But I contained myself, drank a few beers from a 6-pack, got some dinner at a diner, then watched a movie. After that I spent half the night just laying in bed and thinking till I finally fell asleep. I thought I knew my wife so well. I loved her and would have given her all I had to give. But in the end some people are just evil. And you can never really know who they are till they reveal their true self. I made up my mind right then to destroy her in a divorce. I'm normally a very kind and calm man. But get me angry enough, and I can become your worst nightmare. I went to see a law firm for divorce lawyers the very next day, and asked for the meanest lawyer they had. I live in an at-fault state. So my wife was screwed the moment I had her affair on camera. The lawyer was initially apprehensive that I wanted to hire him so quickly, until I explained my situation in more detail. And I even showed him some of the video footage. That's when he got a devilish grin and we shook hands. He said he'd start right away because this was the kind of case divorce lawyers love to dig their teeth into. I had my wife served a few weeks later on a day I was working from home, and the kids were in school. The eldest in kindergarten, and the youngest in preschool. The papers were delivered right to my wife's hands by the local sheriff. The cameras caught it all. She looked scared while she opened the envelope, read the contents, and then lost her mind. She came running into my office to scream at me. But I remained cool and calm the whole time. I was already completely mentally checked out of our marriage. My wife wanted to argue. I just told her I'd made up my mind. And I wanted her out of my house. I'm the only one who's ever paid into the mortgage. She screamed at me that I can't do this to her. And then actually threatened to tell people I beat her if I take her to court, and get me fired from my job to boot. I told her to go right ahead and make up any lie she wants. It won't help her. It's not like she wasn't planning on screwing me over since she's pregnant with her apps baby anyway. She went wide-eyed and asked me how much I knew. I just said I knew enough, and told her once again that I wanted her to leave. She refused and said it was as much her house as it was mine. Then locked herself in the bedroom again. I saw on the bedroom cameras her having a meltdown, and then pulling out her phone and calling police. She was acting like she was in complete panic, but there was a huge smile on her face while she was doing it. She was quite the actress. I'd have believed that performance over the phone in a heartbeat if I didn't already know she was a liar. I waited for police with the front door wide open and told them to come right in when they arrived. They were initially hot-blooded and ready for a showdown. But the house was clean and there were no signs of any sort of fight. My wife came running out of the bedroom and grabbed the vest of one of the officers while crying and saying I was a maniac. I asked one of the other officers to let me show them evidence of what was really going on, and he agreed. Which really startled my wife as she was not aware that I'd recorded her.